Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm going to be talking about self-care and specifically self-care for stay-at-home moms. Why should you do it? How can you do it? And things that I do to hopefully give you some ideas as well. So by the end of this video, you are going to know how to master self-care so you can avoid burnout. So if you think you could benefit from this video, then keep on watching. First off, what is self-care? Well, according to Google, there are 8 different types of self-care that you can do right now. Emotional, environmental, financial, intellectual, occupational, physical, social, and spiritual. So all self-care is you are actively taking time or action to preserve your health and your wellness. So you might be saying, why should I do self-care? Why is self-care important as a mom? I'm gonna tell you right here. According to Google, engaging in a self-care routine has been clinically proven to reduce or eliminate anxiety, depression, reduce stress, improve concentration, increase happiness, improve energy, and more. So if that didn't convince you right there, I don't know what will, because you should be doing self-care, period. So if self-care is something that you are thinking about, you want to work on for the new year, first thing you need to understand is self-care doesn't cost money. You don't need money to do self-care. Another thing you might be thinking about is I don't have time, when in reality, you do have time. Self-care can be 5 minutes. It doesn't need to be an hour long. And if you're telling yourself, Liz, I really don't have the time, I don't have 5 minutes, I'm telling you, you do. You can find 5 minutes throughout your 24-hour day to get some time for yourself. Coming from experience, it is worth your mental health to be proactive with self-care time. And you need to schedule time in your schedule for self-care, otherwise it's probably not going to happen. If you watched my last video on how I schedule my day-to-day life, weeks, months, you will see that I talked about how I actually schedule in self-care time for myself weekly so I can get it done. So coming from my own experience, this last year is when I really felt like I have finally mastered self-care. And there was a couple reasons why I didn't in the first couple years of being a mom, being a parent. The first thing is I always felt guilty. It didn't matter if I left the house to go grocery shopping for our family without our kids, I felt guilty. The next thing is I felt like I was not being productive if I was taking time for myself. I used to value myself with my productivity and how productive I was during that day. So if I took 15 minutes to myself, I would feel so guilty. I would feel so guilty because I wasn't being productive and I wasn't getting stuff done and I wasn't checking stuff off. And that's something that I've had to work through. And because I've done that, now I know it works for me. Which leads me into the next thing that I'm going to talk about is you need to practice self-care. You need to practice self-care. And you also need to practice what works for you with self-care. So I'm going to share what I do. What works for me may not work for you. So you have to practice on what works for me. You try something out and I didn't really feel restful after that. I didn't feel recharged. Okay, try something else. When you take the time to reset and recharge before you burn out, you are going to maximize your productivity. You're going to be way better than you would have been before if you would have burnt out. And you need to remind yourself, tell yourself, I'm a good mom for taking care of myself right now. I'm a good wife for taking care of myself right now. I am nicer to myself when I take care of myself. So take all those negative feelings, give them the bird, punch them in the face because they are negative and they're leading you towards that burnout that you don't want to have. So remind yourself, I am a good mom for taking myself. My kids are better off and are going to benefit greater because I am taking care of myself. So now we're gonna jump into some stuff that I did last year when I really started zoning in and focusing on self-care. So the reason I started self-care is because I was not a good place mentally. What are my 2 self-care things that I do for myself? One is I go to the gym and I work out. We are lucky enough to have a gym that has an amazing kids club, and it's basically like sending my kids to preschool. Like they learn so much there, they love them, the teachers, whatever you call them, they love them, they have a great time. And I spend a good hour to an hour and a half at the gym every day, except Saturdays and Sundays. So one, for me, is working out. That is a huge self-care thing for me. Why I love working out for my self-care is it covers a lot of those 8 things that I talked about in the beginning. Emotional, physical, social. Sometimes I'll bring friends with me or my husband will come with me. Working out is such a great thing for self-care. You gotta figure out what works for you, but for me, I love the weights. I love the hardcore cardio. It's great. And the second thing I have done for self-care for myself is YouTube. Why? Because creativity. It's a great hobby for me. I'm able to create all this stuff. I love editing videos. That's my favorite part. It's so fun to learn. Intellectually, I have to learn. I have to watch so many YouTube videos. I have to read so many articles because I didn't know anything about audio, video, editing, cameras, software for editing. Like there's just so much to learn, and it's been so fun to do it. So that for me, having something that's my own, doesn't involve my kid, my husband, involves me, my growth, my time, has been the most amazing thing I've ever done for myself as a mom.
All right, just a heads up, the audio is about to get real crappy real fast. And that's because after my battery died, I forgot to plug in the audio again. So that's why it sucks.
There were so many days where I was hitting that burnout, and then I would do nothing, then I would feel bad for doing nothing. So the next couple of days I'd work all day, and then I'd burn out again, and the cycle was just going and going and going, and I could not find a good balance. So what I work on now is during the week, I'm very productive, but I also throw in me time here and there, and then on the weekend, I really just rest, take care of myself and my family. And that has worked for me. That to me is a good balance. So those are the two things that I do for myself, and I have received so many amazing things from them. I feel so much more recharged, refreshed, re-energized to continue going, being productive, trying to be better for myself, my kids, and my husband. Something that I've learned and I understand now is that self-care needs to be flexible. So say those two things work for me now, but maybe they won't work for me in the future. So I need to be able to let one go and then bring one in and understand and listen and take the practice, because it is so important. And I've been there where I haven't been doing self-care, and it is really hard mentally. So let's talk about some other ideas of self-care, small things, things you don't have to pay for, things you do have to pay for, stuff like that. I do not count self-care. Oh, this bugs me. As people are like,
just take a long shower.
It's like, I should already be taking a long shower every day. Like, no, that's not self-care. That's just normal things. It bothers me so much when people say those things, and it's like, that's not self-care. And what's funny is when I was planning this video, this account I follow on Instagram, this toddler account, they talked about exactly what I want to talk about. So I'll just read to you guys what they said because they said it perfectly. So the account is called Transforming Toddlerhood. And the first thing is they're like shifting mom burnout. And I was like, perfect. That's exactly what I want to talk about in this video. And they said, reminder, taking a shower alone is not self-care. True. Cleaning the house when the kids nap is not self-care. True. Ordering groceries online and picking them up is not self-care.
Meal prepping after bedtime is not self-care. Going to the bathroom alone is not self-care.
This is the basic personal hygiene and household chores. This is not a break from the daily grind of parenting. Think of these things as a break is what perpetuates mom burnout. Perfectly said. Perfectly said. You are worthy of an actual break from motherhood. Give yourself permission to take a break and to ask for support in making it happen. You are worth it. Drop the mic. But for reals though, I couldn't have said it better myself. They nailed that right on the head. You need to find things that you're not doing in your daily life, basic hygiene, basic chores around the house that are actually self-care for you. So with that being said, I will tell you guys some more self-care ideas, and whatever you do for self-care, please leave in the comments below because I'd love to read it. A few little things would be to journal or get a diary. I showed you guys that app that I got on my phone. It makes it quick and easy. Reading is another great thing. Going for a walk, taking time to go outside. There was an environmental subject in self-care. That would be great for that. Going on hikes, doing things that you've never done before and stepping out of your comfort zone, but it can be exciting. Like Max and I just started going canyoneering, and that has been so much fun, and that is an amazing time for ourselves to reboot, recharge away from our kids so we can go back and be better parents. Dive deeper into your interests. Say you're like, oh, I've always liked budgeting. I've always liked talking about budgeting. Get on the computer, take time for yourself and create a really nice budget and go over it with yourself and check it off. Make goals. Achieving goals is a great self-care thing for yourself. Learning something. I love learning something for self-care because that's what I'm doing with YouTube. There's so much stuff to learn and I barely just scratched the surface in like 9 months, 10 months, whatever it's been. But learning something new is such a good me time. You can meditate, you can pray, go on top of a mountain, hike on top of a mountain and pray and meditate and take some time for yourself. Get all hippie with it. Something that I've never personally done, but I've heard from some family members that they love doing it. They like to go see a movie by themselves, get themselves some popcorn, and they go on basically a date with themselves and they love that self-care time. Some more artsy ones would be like get into painting, do some crafts, go on Pinterest and look at some like wood crafts or something painting that you would like to do for yourself. I've done that before. It's so much fun. And the last idea is there are tons of free little classes and like little program things that you can do on YouTube. So there are a million things that you can do for self-care. You just need to figure out what works best for you, and you need to practice getting that in your schedule, getting a good amount of time that works for you, and what works for you. So I hope now that you are telling yourself you know how to master self-care and you're going to do it this year, upcoming year, 2021, and you are going to make that goal and you are going to achieve it because it is going to make you a better person, better woman, better mother, and better wife. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you'd like to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more like this, and I will see you in my next video. Bye guys. Creatively? Oh my God.